Yo, can you hear me? Can you see me? welcome back to another week of live streams with Larnell on Drumeo Coaches. I hope that all is well with you. I had to take a little time, and someone in the comments said I was gonna come on all cool and smooth, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wake these people up. If you haven't had your coffee yet, you're welcome. Oh my gosh. I hope you're all okay. And actually, a little fun fact if you didn't know, I actually don't drink coffee. I don't. And I actually have backed off of the sugar a lot, which is why my figure is looking fly. You know what I'm saying? You're probably wondering why I look so dapper today other than my usual, coach attire. Today I'm actually coming from a class. So along with teaching for Drumeo Coaches, I am also a professor at Humber College. And so today we actually had a great program. Today we had Tana Alexa and Antonio Sanchez, and they have a duo together. And today, actually this week at Humber College, is Artist in Residence, where we have, select artists coming in and performing. And of course, during COVID, everyone has to stay at home. And so we're lucky enough to be able to have Tana and Antonio join us virtually, which was an amazing, amazing concert, and also just such an informative session, to talk about injustices, talk about the current climate, talk about music and how to really dig deep and to tell your story. And so I decided, you know what? Why don't I just come out to Coaches looking a little different today? It's a dry off the sweat with one of these. I don't know if you have it, but if you don't, I don't know if they make it available, but maybe they should, so we can all, be one and the same. I'm going to check the comments and see how everyone is doing so far. Let's see, where are you off to? Okay. Yeah, man, I'm not off to anywhere except to change diapers, right? If you hear little pitter-patter steps above me, those are my kids, and they are running around, at least one of them. He's awake. So that's home life during COVID, if you didn't know. But before we get into, someone asking what Kaz track was that? So first of all, Deuce of Hearts, good on you knowing that it was a Kaz track. That song is called Shed Away. All right. So if you really dig that, I know I kind of went to the moon and back, but I hadn't played as much drums as I wanted to today. And so I felt like, you know what? Why not just do it? Why not just go in and have fun? And it's a nice, energy boost for me. Been kind of doing the document work and typing. And of course, I was, for the event that I mentioned today with Tana and Antonio, I was a moderator for it. And so, it's quite a bit of a job to kind of field the questions and, at least help to guide the conversation and have as smooth a flow as possible. Documents to get through and read and make sure everything is according to plan, basically. But went off without a hitch. It was great. I felt really good about my position in my job, what I did today, which was awesome. And it's also a really good week. Just been doing auditions for Humber College. Everything is virtual, so if you're interested, that's an option as well. Oh, hey. More Kaz. Man, Lotus. Okay, I might play that one at the end of the hang, because I haven't played in a long time, and I can't remember exactly how that goes. Speaking of remembering, okay, first of all, in the chat, how many we got? 109 people? All right. Now, y'all have been with me for 2 months. Week in, week out. Week in, week out. Okay. Would I lie to you? Come on. And if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments. Would I lie to you? I make it my job to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And believe you me when I tell you, when I was at Drumeo, that was the first time I heard that song. I had not heard it before. After playing it, it did not sound familiar. Um, and as the video that has been released approaches a million views, I think, right? Which is insane in almost like 4 days. Believe me, I have no reason to fake it. Um, why would I miss a money shot like that at the end? Come on. So if I could just kind of make my exit off of my personal soapbox, the last thing I want to say is, would I lie to you, baby? Would I lie to you? And you know what? I'm saying those words. I don't remember the message of the song, but I will say it's hilarious seeing what people are saying in the chat. And what I will kind of put to a note to my family here, because you're my family, um, walk through your day in positivity. Yes, there are many a hoax to unveil and to make known. I hope that nobody in the metal community was offended, but I did my best. For learning a song I never heard and playing it that quickly. I hope you got a lot of information and a really good lesson in listening. Listening is important. You can hear stuff, but you have to listen, right? You have to listen and actually understand and recall and remember what's happening. If you have a friend, try that exercise. Have them say something to you and then say it back and then actually register what they're saying. If we're too much in our phones and we're going, yeah, right, okay, cool, yeah, man, cool, that's gonna be a problem. But as harsh as some of the comments are, I do read them, and I probably shouldn't. I was talking to my friend Sarah Thauer the other day, and she gave me some encouraging words, which was awesome. So big up yourself, Sarah. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, say that it was insane to see the reaction of everybody in the comments. I will also say, please, if I have any power, leave Lars alone. He didn't do anything to me. I did not mean to do anything to him. I don't know what the community has against poor Lars. I mean, we got the same first three letters, man. They give him a break at least. I do know from what I've understood from the comments that, there are a few people who, think that he rushes or drags and that's a part of his style. It's a part of what he's able to do. And not everyone likes it. In fact, me playing everything really straight, people didn't like it. But you can't please people. You can just please yourself. And how can you please yourself? You can make sure that you are centered. Make sure you are breathing. Make sure that you know what you know and you know it well. Because the more you know is the more you know you don't know. Okay? That was the message I was going to tell myself, my little Larnell, but I can't find little Larnell. I moved to this amazing place, but can't find him. So it's going to take a few boxes, but we'll get that going. So let's see what's happening in the comments. I'm going to make sure I pull up my question box because I know that there are going to be a ton of questions going on today. All right, and they're probably flowing. Dave, yes. Perfect. Oh, man. Let's run it back again. Trust me. All right. So today we are going to talk shop. For those that don't understand what that means, talking shop is just a phrase. It's a saying when you want to talk about the ins and outs and the technical things about the job that you do. If you specialize in tiling, let's say when you put tiles on the ground in a place like a kitchen or, like an atrium, like wherever you might be tiling, bathrooms, backsplash, whatever it is, and you meet up with someone else that also does tiling, you can actually get into the little bits and pieces of the job that are either, frustrating or exciting, or, we've done the trade secrets already, but this is also another opportunity to get into little bits and pieces of trade secrets. I stand by the gear that I play. And it's very important for me to say that because, for me, I need to be comfortable. When I am playing drums, I don't want to think about the drums. I don't want to think about my sticks. I don't want to think about my cymbals. I don't want to think about anything other than the music. Because as you saw for the Enter Sandman video, I needed to be in concentration mode 100, right? I did not have any time to be distracted by anything happening. So it's a really challenging moment when gear fails me, or when the cymbal doesn't feel like it's the right one for the gig, or I didn't choose the right snare. My sticks aren't, the tips aren't really the right tips for the cymbals for the music. So all those little bits and things, we're going to talk about that today. And that's the whole point of talking shop, right? We're going to share the information, go back and forth. I'm going to be checking the comments and the questions, and I want you to just tell me as much as you can, ask as many questions, and I will just continue to show and display what's going on. The first question that comes up is, what drum kit is this, right? What is this? Exactly. Dan D-Man, exactly, right? What drums are these, right? So that's the first question. So I will answer that now. This is the DTX 950, okay? So you can check it out on the website, Yamaha's website. I am a Yamaha acoustic drum endorsee as well as electronic drums. And I love playing this DTX kit. I've played other electronic kits and they are amazing as well. If you're looking for, just your basic functions, electronic kits can get it to you. They can get it done. Believe you me, they can get it done. What they're creating nowadays is insane. What they're able to do, what people are able to accomplish with the electronics, the samples, the sounds, the layers of velocity, and the way that they integrate everything together, all of your options. There's so many things that are amazing. But I'll play around this kit a little bit. You've heard it before. But yeah, I'll tell you why I really dig it. First of all, textured silicone pads, right? That's what I'm using on these electronic drums. You might be seeing rubber pads normally, depending, which look kind of like the cymbal material as the rubber. But I like these. I like these kits, specifically this model of the XP pad, all right? Not only for the feel, right? But for the options with the rims. There's so many things you can do with these rims. Heck, it's actually divided up in two. So this one is a rim to give me this sound. And this one is kind of like the rim shot of the tom, where if I were to hit the head and the rim at the same time, this is what it sounds like. A little harsher, a little more aggressive. Same with rack 2. Right? So you can, again, play in a very natural way and get that expressiveness as you're used to, as basically your comfort. Of course, chokeable pads is always fun, right? Of course, I have 5 cymbal pads here, but these pads are all 3-zone as well, so you could change the sound that's on them, right? So of course, if I'm playing the bell of my China cymbal here, I got a splash up there. I have another China right kind of on the this side here, on the bow, and then on the edge, all 3 sounds. So very comfortable, when I'm going to the cymbals, I want to feel like I'm able to access all the sounds that I normally do on an acoustic kit. So when I'm doing these lessons for you, I'm normally just playing the sounds from this module. Somebody mentioned Skinny Puppy. Skinny Puppy, by the way, is a Canadian group. Okay, I know that much. Um, all right. So yeah, so I love playing an e-kit. I know it's not something that's always comfortable to play depending on the situation, but I've done my best to play, practice, and feel at home on this kit, expressing myself as much as possible, for the main reason that I'm not always able to play an acoustic kit. In fact, before I moved to this house where I currently live now for the last month, and y'all saw the move, before that, I every living situation I had, I was not allowed to play drums. When I say not allowed, issues with my neighbors, even when I was playing my DTX kit at my previous house. You know, before that, before I got married, I was living with my parents. And so, my neighbors were just absolutely terrible. We got taken to court, for things like running up and down the stairs, and they're saying, loud drums and all this other stuff. And so, and then growing up before that, when I was really young, I did not have an acoustic drum kit. We were living in an apartment building. I actually didn't get my first acoustic drum kit until I was 16. And that was followed with an application to a grocery store that my dad handed me. And he said, "Yeah, you want those drums? You're going to get yourself a job." I was like, "Ooh, okay. All right, Pops, cool." So that's how I entered the workforce. But as far as gear goes, it was not always possible for me. So once I've got my first electronic kit, which was not Yamaha, it was actually a Roland kit. I was able to buy it secondhand from a friend. And even before that, I was working with another producer named Sam Williams, and we were just in his studio on an electronic kit. So, there's so much about that experience, which I know I see people in the comments saying that it really resonates with them, not being able to play. And this is probably your situation now. But I can tell you this much that, you know, it's not drums, like acoustic drums. It's not. There's so much about the acoustic drums that you can do that you can't do on electronics. But the whole point and purpose, outside of it being a practice kit, is that you can hear the sounds that you're going for. And with hearing it, you use your ears and you learn how to build and you learn how to express, you learn how to move, with like through music. And so, before COVID, I actually had a very small electronic kit, 5 piece, crash ride, set up at my office. And it was great because I'd walk in the morning, do a little shed because all the students are on the acoustic kits before I leave, do some double pedal work or whatever. And if I had a gig, I would also just kind of practice my charts while I'm at the office and then just go and do my thing. And when I got home, I'd take care of my kids. But, and actually at that time, I didn't even have my full kit set up at home. It's only because of the pandemic why I decided to pull this back together again. But I'm very thankful. And that is the story about my Yamaha DTX 950 kit. I hope you enjoy the sounds. It's been great for me. Um, and I'll move on to the next thing. So you've probably seen me play this unit. This is called the DTX M12. Now, the reason why I chose to play this unit, let me just make sure I can actually get a sound source here on this bad boy. I think that's going to be the channel. And I'm going to just send it here. I'm going to make sure I have a feed. Are y'all hearing that? Probably not, right? There it is. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it that well. This is the DTX Multi 12. You've probably seen me play this before. I love this. This, to me, on my drum kit is a must every time. I love percussion. I love playing percussion. You know, I have some conga drums here. I've really been getting into, trying to get my tone together, get my slaps together, get the patterns together, and being very comfortable with playing. And so I have a few of them here. I got one upstairs that I also use around my kids, and we just have fun and dance and play. Nice way to chill out. But, okay, Dan the man, thank you so much for being here. All right, I hope you enjoy the rest of this when you can check it out later. Yes, so I love using this unit because it gives me options. When you have a drum kit and you need to play wind chimes, there it is. Usually I have a sound with a shaker, right? I love having that option. It's amazing. It's so important to me. And so anything that I need, it's here. If I need to, let's go to some older patches here. See what I could find. Oh yeah. So I did a gig once. I don't know if I'm going to remember all of this. It's been a while. Right, so I can't remember the order of the sounds, but I had a whole bunch of sounds ready to go, and very helpful again. Being on a gig and needing to have those orchestral sounds. The piano player was just playing acoustic piano. It was a wedding, and we needed the whole entire thing to feel, big. And so I just got on here and I did my thing. Did a bunch of programming. Something else that's a lot of fun as well with this unit. Let's see here. We'll go to this one. Where is it? Aha!
Work it.
Right? Tons of options there. Right? And then I can turn it off by playing that sound. Right? There's a lot of programming options. So I love this unit, the DTX-M12. The thing that people most know me for is playing a piece of mine called, hold on, let me just get my user preset back here. It's playing a piece called In the Moment. I'll just play you a short little bit of that. Right, that's the shortest version I've played of that tune. It is on my latest release album called Relive the Moment. And yeah, like I love this unit. If you're wondering exactly how I got that done, I've set it up, programmed in a particular way where on one of the squares, I'm calling them squares for now, right, on a few of them, I have 4 notes set up. So this one sounds like this. The top one sounds like this. This one sounds like this. I also have this, this. Of course, instead of playing individual notes in a row, because the DTX can allow you to play 4 layers, A, B, C, and D, you could play those 4 layers, which are not the notes A, B, C, D, but the names of each layer, so you can organize your sounds. I can play them all as one chord. So I chose a chord, this is in the key of A, and I wanted to actually have a chord that worked well with as many bass notes as possible. So it's a sus chord, right? I have 2 pads for my basses. And the bottom bar trigger is going to give me these sounds. So what's cool about it is I can actually play them in any order and it works over that chord. And of course, these notes are looping. And they feel different every time the bass changes. Exactly, Eric. Yes, A sus. Right? It's cool. I can keep that same pattern going. And the awesome feature is to be able to press into this pad and turn off that sound. Right? That's called a mute switch. So the other things that I have set up, I have an 808 here. And whenever I'm playing a bass sound, I have it set up where I can actually hit the 808 and it shuts off any bass sound that I'm playing. So I'll do each note, or as many as I can. Right? So I could be in any part of the cycle in terms of the progression, and just have that subtone just cut the bass. So I have the options to do that very comfortably like this. I play that chord, it's going to be, floating. It's going to feel like I'm changing the progression. I am technically, but that chord is being held on top. I'm going to, pull your attention to a lot of the things I'm doing with that kalimba type sound or N'Biru sound, and I'm also going to hit the sub 808 sound just to shut that off, which shut off the bass. Okay, here it is. Right? So there is a lot of memory going on for me because I have to remember for each pad where it's falling in the cycle, right? I have to know, if this is going to be boom, then I have to know the next one's going to be do, the next one's going to be A, or F sharp, right, to the A. Okay, so I have to keep that in mind while I'm playing and move with that and create the vibe with the progression. So that's a little bit about what it is that I love about this unit. Again, you can put samples in it. It's not as much as the other companies for sure, but I use this unit. The purpose of it is to make sure that I have all the extra sounds and expression that I need, because it's, for me, it's like drum set plus. I can, do what I want to do on the kit, I can do what I need to do on the kit. Speaking of kit, I'm gonna give y'all an exclusive. It's not ready. Okay. By the way, this is the DTX Multi 12. If you were wondering, thank you everyone for hitting that up in the comment. Drees, yes. I hope I said your name right this time. Thank you, Drees. Um, and so I'm gonna flip the camera around just so you can see a little something. I don't know how crazy it's gonna look over there. I did pull a couple things away, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Here it goes. So those are my drums. This is my drum area. The cabling's super messy. Um, working on the miking, as you can see. I'm still going to teach most of my lessons here on the acoustic drums just because, my family's here in the house. And, you know, I got to do what I can with the family. Yes, the lights. Yeah, it's really nice here. I'm very happy about what we have. But you can see all my snare drums there in the corner. There's a ton of them. To your far left is actually my Gen 16 Splash 12-inch, which I actually use quite often inside of my stack. The kit you're seeing right now is the hybrid Maple, so there's another thing I want to talk about. As opposed to this thing, which I love, 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 love my electronic kit. But this is also nice and pretty as well. Um, yes, Rob C. No, was it Rob C. who said there was let's see, Michael Angel. Yes, muted cymbal. Yeah, this one is the Gen 16 cymbal that you're seeing. So my kit right now, it's a 20-inch bass drum, no port, no hole, right? It's a 12-inch rack. That's a 14 by 8 recording custom Yamaha snare, a 16 by 15-inch floor tom, and then just after that, I don't know if you could see it, small little tiny snare drum. It's the Musashi 10 by 4-inch snare. You could imagine, like everyone is saying, like, the sound is going to be wild in here with all the brick. Yes. I actually had to do some recording for the DC Jazz Festival, so you can actually see that. I'm going to be putting out some promotion for that pretty soon. It's a free performance with myself and my wife, Joy Laps. She's playing steel pan for that, so you can check that out as well. Um, but yeah, my conga drums, you see them there. Tons of snares. There's another interface and a whole setup all in the back. When I had to, let's bring it back, bring it back. Okay, everybody. I think we're back, kind of, sorta. Let's fix that angle. I think we got it back. There we go. We're good. Okay. So 20-inch bass drum. We're talking shop, talking about the gear that I like to use, and I'm going to get to some questions just now. So I love that kit, not as much as my Phoenix. I wish I had every size in the Phoenix drum kit. We'll see what Yamaha says about that. But I love this kit. Very versatile. This is the hybrid Maple drum kit, okay? It's a 14 5.5 steel snare as my main snare. And this is the only 20-inch bass drum I own. So I think it was important to show everyone what that looked like because, you don't normally see me play with like one up, two down. I did study jazz in school, and I am accustomed to playing on a four-piece kit. I've had to do that a lot, and I gigged with a four-piece kit a lot as well. It was actually a stage custom kit that I was running with. It was an 18-inch bass drum, 10-inch rack, 14-inch floor, 14 snare, and I did every kind of gig and recording with it. Like, sessions galore. There was one point where like about 70% of my recordings was that stage custom kit. And you wouldn't know it because it was really about, understanding tuning, mic placement, the room, as we talked about the room here. Actually, for the DC Jazz Fest, when I recorded acoustic drums, it was an open solo that I did. I actually had to put something on the ceiling to cut some of that reflection. And so, again, outside of the volume currently, while I'm not going to use it for the lessons right away when we do our coaching sessions, the main thing is I want to treat the room. I want to treat the room. I really want to get the visuals together, even though I love the brick. I'm also dealing with a bit of a fireplace here, which is nice. This room was, I guess, somebody it was more of like a, we'll call it a vibe space. So I'm happy I have the vibe space. My wife has her own music room altogether, so that's very happy. Or that's very happy. That's happening, right? Important for her to have her things and do her thing as well, because she has a ton of steel pans. But in the spirit of talking shop, um, Dungeons and Dragons, Eric. So in the spirit of talking shop, talking about why I use what I use. So a lot of people ask about that deep snare. I've seen, for the whole Metallica video. Why? How dare you play a snare in the floor tom position? That's for the floor tom. Well, you know what? I wanted to do something a little different, and it was important to the songs and styles I was playing. And it's also something that's a signature to me. And being someone that did not grow up having an acoustic drum set for a long time and then not getting to play my drums at home when I finally got my kit, I could never find a setup that was mine. I could never, ever, in fact, it was a thing for me to just completely change my setup every gig. I'd put the ride cymbal somewhere else. I'd put my stacks somewhere else. I would have all my cymbals on my right. I would put them all up in the air. I'd put them all super low. I'd put all my toms flat, just like Bill Bruford. I would just do everything and anything because at that point, I wasn't able to have a consistent setup and know what it felt like to do the same thing. And really until I started touring with Snarky Puppy is when I actually was able to have my setup and something that worked for me. And so what works for me is a 16-inch floor tom. I would love to go to 18, but right now I got 16s, okay? That 14 snare, whether it be by 7 or by 8 inches deep, is so key to my style of playing. I love mimicking, instruments, specifically the talking drum from West Africa, and that's something I do by pitch bending the floor tom, or I should say pitch bending the deep snare, right? Of course, someone might like Lars Ulrich might not need a ride cymbal, but I need a ride cymbal. And I need it in my setup because there's too much, with the music that I play, um, in terms of needing to go there to not have a ride cymbal. And there's no shade to anyone that just doesn't want to have it. It's just something for me in my playing and in the sound and setup that I'm building that it's just very important to have that sound. Speaking of ride cymbals, so, I will show you, I guess we'll move on to cymbals. So give me 1 second. I'll talk a little bit. I might be somewhat far. But we'll bring this bad boy into view. Okay. So this is my 20-inch K Constantinople medium thin low. I love this ride cymbal. I love the 22-inch version a little bit more, but together they're amazing. Very versatile. I'm not going to play it for you at this moment. I'm just going to show you what it looks like because I feel like the mic volume is just going to be super loud. I'll just do one quick demo and I'll show you how loud it is. Do you play jazz like that? Tentative jazz? Oh, people are wondering, this looks smaller than 20. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, D-Mac. I am not a small dude. I am 6'4", all right? I think I'm either the same height as Jared, maybe a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit taller. I can't remember. But Jared's tall. Do not. Okay? And Dave's tall too, man. Drumeo people are tall. Don't mess with us. You know what I'm saying? All right. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Okay, so I love this ride cymbal because it's very versatile. I'm a person that likes to crash my ride cymbals. So that's a characteristic that I look for in a ride. Something that has a great bell sound, When I'm actually playing across the bow of the cymbal, getting some stick definition, but the sound does not, like the roaring or like the sustain of the cymbal does not grow too much to the point where I can't hear the stick definition. I'm not into that. This ride cymbal, I've actually used it as a crash because I've seen a bunch of other people do that. And I was like, hey, let me see what that looks like and sounds like. And it was cool. Not a habit I'm going to keep up. But having a crashable ride is important to me. I organize my cymbals similar to the setup that you see, where I have, my crashes, right? My stack, of course. But with Snarky Puppy, this particular position cymbal is a stack as well. And then I have another stack that I normally use, which I'm going to show you right now. Kelso has joined the chat. This is a must. Stacks are a must. Even if I'm playing jazz, I love having my stack cymbals. Just to show you, I'll play it a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be too loud for the mic, but... Okay, so this is actually the stack that I used on Drumeo. Okay, so if you've seen me on Drumeo, live, see my busted, right? I gotta get that switched. And of course, splash cymbal as well. Okay, so normally I'm using a 10-inch trash former, and on the bottom is a 10-inch A Custom EFX splash. And together, if you want to hear what the trash former sounds like by itself, it's brusted, right? So it's pretty short. But together, does the job. So this stack is normally in this position, and as of like maybe the last 2 years, I've added another EFX splash or a special dry splash really close to it to have my splash region, but the stack is the one that's closest to my hi-hat, and the splash is closest to my tom, so I can do my tom splash related things if I want to get my Manu Katché Vinny on, or Teddy Campbell. I don't know if anyone here follows or checks out Teddy Campbell. So this is an important tool to me. I love this because I actually started using a stack like this. I was into using a hi-hat here before, a very small 10-inch hi-hat, maybe about 15 years ago, 17 years ago even maybe at this point. But once I started seeing Sput play and he had a stack really close, I was like, man, that gives me so many options. I could treat it like a hi-hat. It's a nice accent cymbal. And it's short, it's aggressive, it's trashy, gives me tons of sounds and options. And then again, playing with Snarky Puppy, I had to have all those sounds ready to go. All right. And of course, in this crash position, which is the last thing I'll talk about, is normally a cymbal with rivets. Now for me, my cymbal of choice is actually the Trash Crash from Zildjian. Special Dry, K Custom Special Dry Trash Crash. And I love using this cymbal in particular with 2 rivets. Now, I have a 17, this is a 19, and I have a 21 as well with rivets in it. And I love having that sound. It's a very trashy, aggressive sound. I actually started doing this because I saw a drummer named Corey Fonville using an A Custom EFX. I think it was 18-inch, and he had put rivets in it. I was like, man, I got to do that. But then remembered that on the left side, Dave Weckl actually had a similar cymbal as well. And so he was definitely an influence on me. And so knowing that he had his, I think at one time it was an Azuka 17 or 16 or 15, or I forgot the exact size, that he had on his left with a couple rivets in it. And then he started, when he got his own line with Sabian, doing what I believe now is the effects, if someone can confirm, right? Okay, good. I'm glad the connection's okay, y'all. So, yeah, the Azukas were odd size. So I believe 15 or 17. And so, I realized that he was doing that. And for me, why it works is because, again, I'm in a lot of musical situations. And after not having a consistent setup, I wanted a setup that gave me options. So we've talked about a setup that gave me a main snare and a low snare. Something that gives me, with the low snare, I can treat it like a talking drum, right? I could pitch bend the center of it. Having a riveted cymbal, usually in my kind of like auxiliary crash to the left of my main crash position. That way I can do light touches, if I'm playing hand drums and have something sustain and last. It's also great and quick and fast. And amongst everything else, you won't hear the rivets until everything is really quiet. A crashable ride is also something that gives me the lowest tone, clean cymbal crashing sound. So now what I'm doing is I'm using two crashes and a crashable ride. And those would be my high, medium, and low clean cymbals. I guess, high, kind of like medium up, medium low, and low as my crashables that are clean. And then I have my three kind of affected cymbals, so which is, my stack, which is usually here in the splash position over the hi-hat, something with rivets in it just above the main crash. Again, just really comfortable there. I could also ride on it too, which is great for, having options. And then the usual stack, which is a three cymbal stack, which uses a 14-inch trash, China trash on the bottom. Then I have a 12-inch Gen 16 on top of that. And then I have a 16-inch KEFX on top of that. All right. So, the main one that I use on my gigs, if I have something to my left of my main crash, is a 17 special dry trash crash with two rivets, just so you know. My sticks, that's very important. I'm currently using the Fire Grain sticks. I'm in love with those. Um, you know, Best of many worlds for me. Still getting used to the tip, but as long as it's not super pulpy, it sounds great, feels good. I like the Rebound Balance series from ProMark. It really helps me feel comfortable in terms of like the way that I like to finesse the drums and the cymbals. That's very important. But yeah, that's really it. Other than that, I have tons of other gear, as you could imagine. Lots of options in the corner. There's a 26-inch by 14-inch marching bass drum from Yamaha that I have a couple of legs that I put on, and also another set of spurs that I help to keep it in position. A completely different, couple drum kits. I have a jazz bebop kit as well, same finish as my hybrid maple. Tons of cymbals for options. Usually it goes from very bright A customs to not so bright A Zildjians, which are more like if I'm playing country pop rock. And then I have my dark crashes, which are my K Zildjians. And then I have my special dries, which are really dry. And usually I have three crashes, whether it be 16, 17, 18, 16, 18, 19, or 17, 19, sorry, 17, 18, and 20. Those are usually my crash size options. And most of the time I'm playing a 22-inch ride. I'm a big guy, and I really like the way that the bigger ride cymbal feels up against my 20-inch crash in this last position. So I'm going to head over to the questions now and just answer as many as I can. Someone said, let's see, Andy B. You said, saw that I have Caribbean parents. Have I ever been to St. Kitts? Used to live on St. Thomas. Awesome. So I have been to St. Kitts. For those that don't know, I am first generation Canadian, which means that my parents were not born here. Okay. They immigrated here in the 80s. And then this guy showed up. And so I am, of my parents, I'm the eldest child that they have. And being first generation Canadian, being here has afforded me great privilege, and to be able to have access to all the things that I do have access to. But yes, I am of Caribbean descent. My, family goes back, as far as I know, as far as Caribbean goes, back to like the Dominican Republic. That's my great grandfather. He was from there, and he played guitar grandfather in St. Kitts was a multi-instrumentalist. All my uncles, along with my dad, they play instruments, and my mom's side of the family, they play instruments as well. And of course, those that don't remember, my brother is a drummer as well. He's the drummer for The Weeknd. And then there's this guy, and I have a sister as well, a younger sister. She plays a bit of drums and sings beautifully. And my kids are messing around on instruments, and my wife is a steel band player. Her family's from Antigua, and so we do have that Caribbean connection. And I've been to both St. Kitts and Antigua as well. Um, I'll take another question here. Let's see. Someone said, Fishman, you said, I may have missed it. What is the drum module for my drum kit? This is the DTX 950 kit. So the module itself is the DTX 900M. Okay? For module. This is the flagship kit, if you didn't know, meaning it's the top level that they have. And I think there's a question someone says, what would you like to see in the new Yamaha electronic kits? It seems like it's been a while since they've made any updates. What I would love to see in the new Yamaha kits is its ability, to make me a drink. Because these things already do so much. I just want like an orange juice. Like, can you make me an orange juice? I don't drink coffee. I haven't had a hot chocolate in about 5 years, so I don't know. Can you do it? What can you do? See, that's what I want them to do. That would be amazing. Another question, Deuce of Hearts asked, how do I load sound samples? That's a great question. So with the DTX M12, you load the sounds on with a USB key. What you have to do is you actually go to and I'm trying to get back to the main page so I can see everyone acting a fool and laughing at me. Yes. Okay, cool. Yes, I got jokes. So, yes, the way you do it is you go to your favorite recording software, or even if you download a sample online, and you can cut the sample in your software, or again, download it online, and then you put it onto what's called the root menu of the USB stick. That means when you put the USB stick into your computer and you open it up, that space where you might make folders, whatever that space is, don't put the sounds or samples into a folder. Just put them right into that main kind of area of the USB stick. The samples have to be 16-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. Okay, that's a formatting thing in terms of the way it accepts the sounds and samples. If you make it 24-bit or 48 kilohertz per second or 96 kilohertz per second, is it kilohertz per second? Kilohertz. Sorry, I'm thinking internet. Megabits and bytes and gigabits and Lord have mercy. So kilohertz, okay, is the frequency of hertz is the frequency of we're talking about range of sound, right? So kilohertz is a smaller, measurement of that. So, where was I going with this? Can anyone remember? Yes, 44.1 kilohertz. Thank you. It's the same for Roland. Okay, thank you, Dries. So, kilohertz. Oh man. Oh yeah, Mega Dragon. It'd be great if they had an electronic kit where you could just hit a button and it turns into a suitcase. Yeah, traveling with electronics can be challenging, especially with the restrictions that they have in airports. They see something and they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, do you really want to know? It's like, "Sir, this way." I'm like, "But I was making a joke. Don't send me to secondary. I got a gig. I'm tired. I didn't have any apple juice or orange juice." So yeah, basically standard, it seems, is for any electronic drum kit you're dealing with, the sample formatting has to be 44.1 kilohertz, and that's the sample rate, right? And then the actual bit rate is 16-bit, which means I guess it's how the resolution of the actual file. That's a standard thing. But you put it onto the root menu of the stick, you insert it, and then there are a few functions depending on the unit that you're using to upload the sound into the memory bank. All right. Gigawatts. I'll take a couple more questions, whether in the chat or just extra. Let's see. Okay. Marlene R. Great question. So the question is, hey Larnell, if you couldn't practice at home, how did you build your incredible technique? First of all, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And second of all, um, short notes. What I did was I would practice on a pillow in front of a mirror, and I would make sure I got my stick heights together. I would do a thing where I put the sticks kind of like at about 2 inch range from each other, or just comfortably, in that kind of V or triangle A, whatever you want to kind of position. If you're not sure, you can kind of like throw your arms to the side, wiggle, 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 get nice and loose, and then put your arms up. That way you'll be nice and relaxed. I learned that from Benny Greb. Okay? So put your arms up. Make sure your form is the way you want it to. Make sure your thumb is where it needs to be. Right on top, we're trying to create, a good balanced form, and of course get the fulcrum together. Um, Either way, identify the form and match it each hand. Get them in position, and then in front of the mirror, you're gonna just strike once, right? And now we're not lifting and throwing; we're just throwing the stick. Okay. After you do that, you take a look at your hands. You see with the model hand versus the hand that you're working on. After you throw the stick down, did you maintain the form? I did a lot of those things. I also did a lot of work with a metronome where I would do exercises like paradiddles, 5 stroke, 6 stroke, double paradiddles, and single strokes and double strokes in a particular sequence until I was just like completely bored, or I could do it in my sleep because sometimes I'd be half awake. And when I felt like I had it comfortably, I would then say, okay, I'm going to do it 20 times in a row, no mistakes. If I made one mistake, I got to start again. Did it 20 times in a row. And then from there, I would go from, let's say, if I started at 61 beats per minute, I would then go to so if I started at 60 beats per minute and I did the 20 times, then I would go to 61 beats per minute and repeat the whole process again. I would not exceed 10 BPM range for the practice session. If I did, it was because I did a 3 BPM warm up, which means if I started at 60 today and worked my way to 70, tomorrow I'm going to start at 67 as my warm up. Then from 70 to 80 is what I would work on as the range, right? Going in 1 BPM increments. The next day, I would go, instead of starting right at 80, I would start at 77 and then work my way to 80 and then continue. So technically, it was like about a 12 or 13 BPM range for the day, but the focus was a 10 BPM range from like, right on the 10 BPM markers. So I don't know if you're following along on that. But yeah, that's definitely, you know, um, that's definitely what I spent time doing, and just practicing getting sounds out of different things like, boxes and, you know, laundry baskets and beds and pillows and phone books and anything I could, and trying to pull the sound out of that by manipulating the drumstick. So if I needed it to sound thin, I would play in a way to make it sound thinner so it sounded like a hi-hat. If I needed it to sound like a snare, I would actually kind of get more of an aggressive attack by the way I was playing. And if I needed a bass drum, I'm playing with my foot. If I needed it to sound like a tom, I would play a particular way. So I was trying to get the range of sound out of the one instrument, which is something that people do when they're playing percussion. If you see them playing congas or djembe or a lot of hand percussion, you'll find that they're able to pull all these tones, this wide range of tones out of the drum. That's the same thing I wanted to do with the acoustic kit and ultimately electronic. So for me, it did definitely took a long time to get to that place, but those are the kinds of things I focused on because I did not have the luxury of practicing on an acoustic kit constantly. I did play a lot of drums though, not to be mistaken. I was playing at school every week. They did allow me to play an acoustic kit on my lunch break. There was an open music room, so instead of hanging out, I would practice. And I played in as many of the school bands as possible to get a chance to play, and I also played at church. So I surrounded my acoustic drum practice time with just focus on a stick pad, focus with drum books, focus with, the metronome, and really building my time feel, understanding of nuance with the drumsticks and how to pull sound out of the drums, and really paying attention to all those things. Um, let's see here. Yes, Dante, exactly. Sitting here now with my combination of pads, pillows, etc. That's it, man. I had a gig, and it's the last story I'll tell for today. I had a gig with a gospel artist named Fred Hammond, and you know, again, I did not have an acoustic kit to practice on at the time. I got the call 2 days before the gig. Sound a little familiar? This is before Snarky Puppy's recording situation for We Like It Here. They were coming to town. Their actual drummer is their musical director at the time, Calvin Rogers. He sent a sub because he was not available, but the sub did not have a passport or did not handle business in some way and was not able to leave the U.S. And so they were going to cancel the show. The promoter called me and said, "Am I able to play?" And I said, "Sure." But even though I locked it in, I didn't get the music until 2 days before. And even though I got it 2 days before, I only had 10 hours to actually learn the music, which was a full 75-minute set. And so I stretched my mind. I did everything I could in that time period, and I cut the gig, and it was great. Fred, um, loved what I did, and then I was invited again to sub for a performance in Barbados, which was awesome. And so, if you don't know Fred Hammond, he's a part of amazing gospel artist, like pioneer, and was a part of a group called Commission. And Commission was the group that inspired Boys to Men to do what they do and have been doing. And so Fred has been at the forefront of really influencing music, and not a lot of people know that. But to get a chance to work with him is absolutely a blessing and awesome opportunity. And it really stretched me because that's the highest of the high in the gospel realm. And to be able to do that and have his approval was great for me. And so I say that to go back full circle with the idea of learning songs quickly. It's important to practice listening, because the more you practice is the more information you can collect in one listen. And just pay attention. Give the moment your all. Give it everything. Take it all in, and be present. Be in the moment. Okay? With that, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me for this stream. It was great talking about the gear and the things that I use. I hope you learned a lot from that. I guess I will play you out a little bit, if that's cool. I was a little aggressive earlier. I might just mellow it out a little bit. So here is a live performance of In the Moment. Here we go.
Peace out.